thinking over the situation in the Middle East, you know, I can't pretend to have anything that compares to that sort of tragedy that is to, you know, the innocent people of the people of Israel that got killed and the people in Palestine that are under oppression or feel they are. You know, I can't pretend to know a whole lot about the situation, but everybody contextualizes it within their own experiences, and the only thing that even remotely compares to it that I can think of, you know, to put it in perspective that I can understand it, is, you know, as an adult, I was about 25 years old and grew up around, you know, Catholics and Protestants and stuff, and as a kid, they were just churches that your friends went to church at, you know. It didn't mean anything, there were no negative connotations. And then growing up and, you know, find out people say, you know, St. Patrick's Day comes around and you hear at some point that you're part Irish and you wear green, you know, and it's all, everybody's all equal. And then I found out when I was about 25, you know, that somebody asked me, who was more directly associated with Ireland, whether I was Protestant or Catholic, and grew up Protestant or Catholic, and I said Protestant, and all of a sudden I was on the wrong side, you know, and got shown a little bit of animosity, and I thought how stupid it was, you know, to be like, well, I wasn't there, I'm not the one that settled your land. But nonetheless, that's the types of conflicts that people inherit based on birth and history. And, you know, you're always told that knowing your history is so important, but then connecting yourself to history so much that you take upon yourself these conflicts, and you have conflicts with other people based on which side of history they were on, when we're all just born into the bodies that we're born into, and the history of our parents and grandparents and great-great-grandparents and all the lineage. You really don't, you just inherit that. It wasn't your choice, and that's what I consider probably most of the victims of the attacks in Israel were, you know, human beings that were born, happened to be born Jewish, and to somebody else that's grounds for killing. And I'm not trying to downplay the people's reasonings for war, except that I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I mean, obviously most of us wouldn't just openly kill somebody, but I wouldn't sign up for it, and I wouldn't take part in it. And you person might die for not doing that, for not wanting to take part in it, and that's a choice too. And I'm glad I happen to be an American and I'm not being put in that situation. But nonetheless, you know, the way I look at it, when you put two little toddlers down, and one of them's Jewish and one of them's Muslim, chances are they're both going to want to walk away from their parents and play together, because they don't carry all that baggage of history. And when I was a little kid, you know, I was like, why do we have to grow old and die? But then once you grow old and you carry all this baggage of what you've learned and these grudges of history that have beset upon you, then you're like, you almost kind of understand why there has to be this death and rebirth. It's like nature's always trying to refresh us from all this garbage that we load upon ourselves and carry against other people. These grudges, like, oh, you know, not liking this nationality or that religion or everything, just too much knowledge, or tying yourself too closely to knowledge and attaching that baggage that you put on to your views of other people is a negative thing. Now, that's all serious content, and I'm probably not too profound, probably not anything anybody doesn't already know. So, you know, the other childish part of me that is humor, and it's not something, there's nothing funny about people dying, but there's always humor in life, and even in tragedy there is some humor. And on those grounds, I gotta say that Philistine, or Philistine, however you want to say it, gotta say it sounds a little Jewish to me. I mean, you guys might be carrying a grudge just because of that. You know, it's the Steens fighting the Steins over there. It's you know, that's That's a joke. And the other thing I was kind of humorous, thought, or not humor, it's dark humor, and I know, but it's like a music festival in the Middle East. Which is the better name? Bombaroo or Lollapalooza? I know. But those are the jokes I have in mind. Sorry if they're uncomfortable.